What's going on, everybody? So today is finally the day. We are going to turbo the little blue Miata. So I'm going to try to do this under $1,000, and this video is probably going to be a couple days, maybe even a couple weeks. If you don't have a fitting, you didn't get this line, or something stupid, everything isn't always as it seems. So first things first, I got a Max Speeding Rods turbo kit off of Marketplace. So this should have just about everything: clamps, intercooler piping, lines, wastegates, ball valve, manifold, yada yada yada. So doing a little research before I put it on, everybody that bought this kit with the 1.8 car, the turbo hits the frame rail. So I'll show you here. This is the turbo that came with the kit. The kit is supposed to have an external wastegate. That's why this one doesn't have a internal wastegate on it, obviously. So I guess with the turbo bolted to the manifold this way, the housing hits the frame rail. So everybody says, go to a GTR turbo. So this is an R32, R33, GTR, T3, T4 flange turbo. The housing is a little bit smaller, so that should be the way to go. I'm gonna find out pretty soon. What else? Cheap boost gauge. AM wide bay gauge, don't cheap out on those, because if you know, you know. Blocks, FMU. That is right, FMU in this car. I am not doing a Mega Squirt just yet anyway. I want to do this for the cheapest amount possible. I want this thing to just, rip around. It's my fun car. I don't need a bunch of fancy things in the car to, tune it properly, blah, blah. I don't really care right now. I just want to get it turboed. I want to rip it around. So that's what we're going to do. So today, we are going to start the process. And what do you do before you start taking your car apart? You disconnect the battery. If you don't disconnect the battery, you never know what's going to happen. I've been there, done that. Don't really feel like doing it, so disconnect the battery. Yes, I have the battery ratchet strap in the back of the car. I don't want to talk about it. So now I'm going to set you up right here, do a little time lapse of pulling the front end apart, and see you in a bit. Got the front end off, got the fenders off, got the hood off. These stupid little Allen key fasteners, I put them on a lot of things. I put them on the fenders, put them on the bumper, holding them on just so it cleans everything up a little bit. and 2 of them are stripped and they were a pain in the butt to get off, so I'm probably not going to put those back on. But now I'm going to move to pulling the intake off. I'm going to get underneath and get the O2 sensor out of the header, then I can get the header out, and then we can start fitting up the turbo. So I'm going to do that. All right guys, just pulled the old Racing Beat manifold off, and I'm just going to brake clean this up quick and then fit up the other manifold and turbo, and pray to God it fits. All right, so turbo is on. I am so happy this thing fits between the block and the frame rail. It is not by a lot at all, but it does fit. The other one didn't fit even slightest compared to everything I looked at online. So this is freaking sick. So now I'm gonna have to pull the manifold back off. The manifold studs are a little short, so I don't know what I'm doing about that yet. But manifold off, gasket, turbo back off, gasket. I'm gonna clearance that frame rail a little bit with a hammer. And yeah, after that I might start working on oil feed and return. Sounds good. All right, turbo and manifold should be bolted up for the last time. I clearance that spot with a hammer a little bit on the frame rail right there, a little far back, but I think it'll be all right. Got the feed fitting on, and I got the drain on with a hose. So now comes the part that I'm dreading, is drilling a hole in the oil pan. So I left the car full of oil, so I'm gonna drill it. I'm gonna put a magnet on it, drill it, little grease, hopefully I can catch everything. And then after, when I clean everything up and tap it, I can drain the oil, and hopefully whatever gets into the oil pan will come out. So we'll do that now. All right, got my drain pan set up right there on the front corner of the oil pan, probably about an inch up. I'm gonna drill a pilot hole, and then I will go up one more size, and then it will go up the size that I need for the fitting, which is right there. And then I will tap it and cross your fingers. All right, got the return bung in. I did end up JB welding around it just because that didn't really fit as great as I hoped. And instead of like thread taping it, I figured if I JB weld it, it's probably my best bet so it doesn't leak. So now I'll lower the car down and see what I gotta do for oil feed. All right, this is what I got going right now. I got the stock oil pressure sensor on a 4-way T. I got that side plugged. This is the side that's gonna go into the block. And I'm going to put the oil feed off the top here, and don't mind this, I'm gonna run this. Yeah, man. I'm going to take this feed line and run it down between the intake, probably right there, so it doesn't have to travel too far. And get back to you on that. All right, guys, I am calling it for today. I got the oil feed line ran up. I did not get it behind the intake because this stupid line is such a thing to work with. But I got the T up in there. I don't know if you can see it or not. I got the T up there with the oil pressure sensor on it and the feed line. So I'll be back tomorrow. All right, what's up, guys? It's the next day. So quickly, I just got the plug plugged into the oil pressure sending unit, and I'm gonna take the oil feed from the turbo. I'm gonna bleed it now into a bucket. My girlfriend's gonna help me crank. So it shouldn't start, but if you want, go ahead and crank. And I'm gonna feed this bucket up. Again. 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 Stop. Got oil. All right, do it one more time. I'll get a little more clean oil. One more. One more. Again. Okay. All right, I'm gonna connect the feed line back up and we'll see if it comes out the drain. All right, now I'm gonna have her crank it and see if it comes out the return. Go ahead. Again. 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 All right, let it run a little bit longer this time. Like a second? Yeah. All right, a little longer. A little bit longer.
How many freaking seconds?
One more.
Like 5 seconds?
Yeah, sure. All right. Did you shut it off or it shut off?
It shut off.
Okay. All right, should be good. All right, little update. Got the intercooler on. I made these 2 brackets out of just pieces of flat stock. Got a heck of an angle to it, but I want to keep the AC in this car, so that condenser is in the way, and this is the only way I figured I can mount it to be able to fit a front bumper as well. So now I'm going to start working on the intercooler piping. I did find out that I have the turbo clocked obviously that way, and it's supposed to go down, but like I said, with my AC and everything, I don't think that's gonna happen. So I don't know if I'm gonna have to come in through the bottom of the headlight or even over here. I'm honestly not sure yet what I'm gonna do. So right now I'm gonna start on the passenger side because this should be easy. Come out underneath, up straight behind the radiator and to the intake. So I'm gonna start working on that. All right, guys, end of day 2. Got the intercooler on, as you saw before. I got some of the piping mocked up on the side. Comes up to the intake, fits pretty good. So, like I said before about clocking the turbo, because I'm keeping the AC on this car, the turbo is supposed to be clocked down and it would go where the AC pump is and then out, kind of like the passenger side. But since I'm keeping the AC, I cannot do that. So, unfortunately, I'm resorting to hole sawing right here, and it's going to come out the driver's side right, I don't know if you can see where that plug is up there, come down straight to the intercooler. So unfortunately, with that being said, the car being this low, this is the max I can turn to the right. I mean, I can live with it for now. The only other option I got is when I get it all together, take that pipe, oval it a little bit, or if I can get an oval intercooler pipe, 2.5 inch, I will do that. But that's kind of my only option. Like I said, I cannot go straight down with the AC pump right there. So that's where I'm gonna end it on day 2. I will see you tomorrow. All right, guys, it's Friday. Just got out of work. I did not work on it yesterday because I was waiting for a couple things, but everything should be here today. So between hopefully today and this weekend, I can get this thing wrapped up. So first off, I did a little research and I did say that I was going to come out right here, but then I was going to be fighting getting any more angle than that. So I was reading up last night and a couple of people are coming out right here and then down the side in their fender. I didn't think that would fit like that, but I guess people are doing it. So I'm gonna try doing that. So first off, I'm gonna get the boot on the turbo. That just came in here. I got a 2-inch 45 to 2.5 inch. So that should fit on the side of the turbo. And then I can get the hole saw out drill for this 45 that's gonna come out where the fender's gonna be, 90 down, and then I'm going to 90 into the piece for the blow-off valve. And then I will do a straight coupler into the intercooler. And then the intercooler will be done. Oh, also besides the other 90 that I am waiting for, that should be here today. So I'm gonna start working on that. And after your intercooler is all wrapped up. Oh, also one more thing that I forgot the other day. When I put the turbo on and the manifold and everything for the last time, I never put the block-off plate for the wastegate on the manifold. And then I looked all over for it, can't find it. So I had to order another one. I don't know when that's gonna be here, but I have to add that to the list. So start putting the intercooler on. Okay, update. Got the 45 on the turbo. I did a 22 actually, not a 45 here. So I did a 22 out the fender, and it fits perfect down the side of the frame rail. Well, not frame rail, but front end. Down to the intercooler. Have the blow-off valve mounted right there, and the fender clears this perfectly. Take that off. That is exactly what I did. Right out the side. That pipe was a little bit short, so I'm not really happy about it. I had to put a little spacer in that, but whatever. So that's that. Still waiting on the other 290s that I need for this side. Haven't came in the mail yet. So I think next I'm going to start tackling cleaning up a little bit, to be honest. So yeah, I'll update you what I do. All right, so I figured I'd start working on the wastegate. And if you guys can remember from before, the wastegate was supposed to be mounted over here. The oil line was in the way, and then it would have been such a wicked angle to come over to the back of the turbo. So I ended up cutting that bracket off. That was kind of at a 45, and I ended up welding it straight. So now when I bolt this to the back of the turbo, it should be straight towards the back of the turbo. I'll have to unbend this because I did bend it to see if I could make that arch, but I could not. So I'm gonna hit this with some paint quick, and then I'll throw it on. All right, got the wastegate bolted up. Had to leave the shaft a little bit bent, but looks pretty good. So I figured while I'm here too, I will check the wastegate. This is a cool little trick. Take your vacuum tester, put it on push pressure, not vacuum. Put it on your wastegate, and this will tell you, as well as you can watch your wastegate open. And this one is open, opening, 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 and that's about a 6 to 8 psi wastegate. So that's perfect. Good little way to test it. You can close it back up, and that should be it for that. Probably gonna start hooking up some vacuum lines now and see how far I get. All right, guys, it's got the vacuum lines hooked up. Got the one going to the blow-off valve or the radiator support over here up to the intake. Put a T on the intake. Yes, I know it's blue. That's all I had. To the boost gauge, and obviously put the one on the turbo for the wastegate. So when I was just doing that, the UPS guy came, and I got the final pieces that I need. I got the two 90-degree couplers and the wastegate block-off plate for the manifold. And then be able to fire this thing up, hear it run with everything together, minus obviously the FMU and the AFR gauge and downpipe, but don't worry about that yet. All right, guys, I think this is everything. I just looked everything over, and it looks like for the turbo kit, I have every single piece hooked up. Granted, I do not have the FMU hooked up. I do not have the spark plugs gapped. I don't have the flange for the downpipe. The boost gauge is just obviously sitting here for now. And I need to come up with a coupler for the mass airflow sensor and filter off of that, because I am running an FMU, not a Mega Squirt, so I need to have the stock mass airflow sensor. But there's a million other videos on YouTube to show how to do what I just said. There's a great FMU video on YouTube. There's a great AEM wideband gauge install on YouTube. So this for me was just to show that you can get a budget turbo kit, a max speeding rods kit for under $1,000 and get it on your car to fit. Yes, there is some custom work involved, but the only thing that maybe you wouldn't be able to do at home would be to weld that bracket for the wastegate. Everything else you can do at home in your driveway. So now I am going to start it up for the first time with everything together, and hopefully it's perfect. Got power, it's a good thing. All right, here we go. need to 2-foot this. Give it a little bit of gas. Come on, baby, stay running. I want it to run by itself so I can watch everything. Turn the lights back off. What it says. I'll set you up right here so maybe I can hold it. She made positive pressure. Runs like a tractor. Well, that's it. You heard it run. That is a Max Speeding Rods Turbo Kit installation from beginning to end, minus a couple couplers that I needed. But that is everything. So next, I'm gonna put on the FMU. I'm gonna make a downpipe when that flange comes in, and I gotta put the AM wideband gauge in as well. But this is the Turbo Kit install video. So if you guys like it, please comment, like, subscribe, and I don't know what we're gonna do next, but I'll see you in the next one.